I can tell you as a fitness professional, I was unknowingly falling for all three of these exercise pitfalls for years because I was trained to believe they were the ticket to getting into great shape. And man, oh man, I'm sure glad I finally learned differently. First up is a real curves killer. I'm talking about traditional cardio. The biggest problem with traditional cardio, besides how long and boring it can be, has to do with a very important hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is known as the stress hormone. Cortisol breaks down lean muscle tissue and promotes fat storage in areas like the hips, butt, belly, and thighs. The more cortisol we have floating around, the more likely we are to store fat in these problem areas. And unfortunately, study after study clearly concludes that in terms of exercises, traditional cardio sessions are one of the absolute worst culprits for causing elevated cortisol levels. When our cortisol levels are elevated, burning fat and building or even maintaining shapely lean booty muscle becomes extremely difficult. Elevated levels of cortisol can kill our curves and leave us looking and feeling soft and flat, which is why I consider traditional cardio a big no-no when we're focusing on sculpting the booty. Next up is weighted squats and leg press. There are two big problems that I have with these exercises. First is the increased risk of strain, pain, and injury that these high-impact compound movements can pose to our back and joints, especially as we get into our 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. And secondly, even when weighted squats and leg presses are executed perfectly, they simply don't target the booty nearly well enough compared to the other areas of our lower body, especially our thighs. Yes, our glutes are worked, but very disproportionately so compared to muscles like our quadriceps, which is why these exercises are recipes for a thickening of the thighs, much more than a tightening of the booty, if you know what I mean. Now, if simply bigger legs is the goal, then weighted squats and leg presses can have a place at the table. Yet when it comes to sculpting the booty with proportions in mind, then I recommend staying away from them for the most part. And finally, the third pitfall we should avoid when we're after a shaped, lifted booty are the generic fitness and physique classes that have no progression from week to week. From what I've seen, doing the same fitness class week after week could be the biggest pitfall of all when it comes to trying to sculpt a round, lifted booty. And here's why. Besides most fitness classes not even being close to targeting all three muscles of the butt properly, the reality is when we're working on any body part, we should always take an approach based on the proven principle of progressive overload from week to week in order to achieve noticeable results. Fact is, the proven principle of progressive overload is virtually always at the fundamental core of any well-designed, results-driven body-shaping fitness plan. And when it comes to building and shaping the booty, I've found the best results are not only realized by incorporating the principle of progressive overload from week to week, but also from exercise to exercise. Having each movement, each exercise, and each workout build upon the previous is something that can be incredibly effective for making maximum head-turning improvement from week to week with the booty.